1,100, but the number of new cases falls for a second straight day after the World Health Organization urges global unity to combat the grave threat. Another 39 people aboard the Diamond Princess cruise ship in Japan have tested positive for the new coronavirus. Bernie Sanders wins the New Hampshire's high-stakes Democratic primary. I'm Alma Angeles, wherever you're watching from around the world. Thank you very much for joining us, and now to the news. The number of fatalities from China's new coronavirus epidemic jumped to 1,113 nationwide on Wednesday after another 97 deaths were reported by the National Health Commission. Take a look. The figure is only the second time there has been a decline in the daily death toll and follows Tuesday's data showing 108 new fatalities. More than 44,600 people have been confirmed as infected by the pathogen across China. Around 2,000 new cases were reported on Wednesday, with 1,638 in the hard-hit province of Hubei, where the outbreak emerged in December. The virus was officially named COVID-19 by the World Health Organization at a conference in Geneva. Take a look.
Coronavirus. First of all, we now have a name for the disease. And it is COVID, and I will spell it, COVID-19. CO stands for corona, as you know. VI stands for virus, D for disease, so COVID. Under agreed guidelines between WHO, the World Health Organization, the World Organization for Animal Health, and the Food and Agriculture Organization, means WHO, OIE, and FAO, of the United Nations, we had to find a name that did not refer to a geographical location, an animal, an individual or group of people, and which is also pronounceable and related to the disease. Having a name matters to prevent the use of other names that can be inaccurate or stigmatizing. It also gives us a standard format to use for any future coronavirus outbreaks.
The WHO said that although 99% of cases are in China, where it remains very much an emergency, it also holds a very grave threat for the rest of the world. WHO officials are urging countries to share data in order to further research the disease. No specific treatment or vaccine against the virus exists, and WHO has repeatedly urged countries to share data in order to further research into this disease.
99% of cases are in China. This remains very much an emergency for that country, but it's also a high risk for the region, Asia region, and for the world. We are still in a very early stage of understanding this virus, how it is transmitted, the source of the virus, the incubation period, the clinical feature, the severity of it, etc.
I think we're now having a real problem in our hands. And we must take what's happening now seriously and really commit to preparedness, to strengthening our health systems all over the world and make this world safer. Still, I said it many times, I have a great concern that if this virus makes it to a weaker health system, it will create havoc. For now, it doesn't seem so, but it doesn't mean that it will not happen. It may. It depends on how really we lead this response and how we respond to the outbreak. So that's why I don't think it's too late. We have the window of opportunity, and the whole world should really stand in unison to contribute to strengthening the countries with weaker health systems. But in the meantime, we're not defenseless. There are many basic public health interventions that are available to us now and which can prevent infections now. To be honest, a virus is more powerful in creating political, economic, and social upheaval than any terrorist attack.
Several teams of experts in Australia, Britain, China, France, Germany, and the United States are racing to develop a vaccine, a process that normally takes years. Efforts to come up with a vaccine are being led by the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, or CEPI, a body established in 2017 to finance costly biotechnology research in the wake of an Ebola outbreak in West Africa that killed more than 11,000 people. Ultimately, however, scientists may end up in the same situation they were during the 2002 to 2003 outbreak of severe acute respiratory syndrome, or SARS, which died out before a vaccine could be fully developed. A close cousin of COVID-19, SARS spread around the world and killed nearly 800. Meanwhile, a further 39 people on board the Diamond Princess cruise ship off the Japan coast have tested positive for the new coronavirus, as thousands more still themselves for a second week in quarantine. Now, the ship that originally had over 3,700 passengers and crew on board has become the largest single cluster of the newly named COVID-19 disease outside its origin in China, where it has killed more than 1,100 people. The Ministry of Health in Japan also said on its website one of the quarantine officers was infected with the virus. The Diamond Princess has been in quarantine since arriving off the Japanese coast early last week after the virus was detected in a former passenger who got off the ship last month in Hong Kong. Those who remain on the ship have been asked to stay inside their cabins and allowed only briefly onto open decks as long as they wear face masks. Passengers have also been asked to keep a distance from each other when outside and given thermometers to regularly monitor their temperatures. A team of UK scientists believe they are one of the first to start animal testing of a vaccine for the new coronavirus that has killed more than 1,000 people and spread around the world. Researchers at Imperial College London said their ultimate goal was to have an effective and safe way of halting the SARS-like strains spread by the end of the year. Imperial College London said it cannot be sure how advanced other teams' research is at the moment, but the animal tests they began running Monday were one of the first.
So at the moment we have just put the vaccine that we've generated from these bacteria into mice, and we're hoping over the next few weeks we will be able to determine the response that we can see in those mice in their blood, their antibody response to the coronavirus. Once the phase 1 trial is complete, which will take a few months to complete, it can be immediately started into an efficacy trial in people, which will also take a few months to complete. So perhaps by the end of this year, there will be a viable tested vaccine that would be suitable for use in people.
Much of the world's current research into the new strain is being funded through the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovation, or CEPI. The group was formed at the 2017 World Economic Forum in Davos to help drug companies and universities join forces and stamp out dangerous and preventable diseases. Imperial College London is not working with any of the current teams partnering with CEPI and requires its own sources of funding. Its scientists hope that successful animal testing can help secure investments that allow clinical trials to start sometime between June and August. McKay said it would be unfair to say that the various universities and companies are competing to become the first to develop a vaccine.
And it's a good quality for it. The race kind of implies that everybody's being really competitive, but in fact there's been so much cross sharing with all of this information. I mean, the Chinese, as soon as the genome was sequenced, they shared that freely with everyone in the world. So to put it in a competitive sense, it's probably not accurate. I would say that it's a collaborative race. Here we have a long piece of RNA.
The novel coronavirus epidemic is expected to reach its peak in mid to late February in southern China. Renowned Chinese scientist Zhong Nanshan says, take a look.
那么根据我们的数学模型的分析的话呢，在南方呢，应该是在2月份，2月中旬以后，或者说是到2月下旬，应该是达到最高峰。就是这个阶段呢，有相当的多的这个返程的，因为就是这个返程的话呢，也会有没有人顾虑，就是说会不会引起进一步的另外一个高峰？ 现在看起来呢，我不是太就不认为啊，它会有一个更高的高峰。
He also said that it's necessary to do containment measures in the city of Wuhan, the epicenter of the outbreak. He also said that the country should permanently ban trade in wildlife. And he urged the country to improve its disease control mechanisms and set up a global early warning system for contagious diseases. Meanwhile, here are the areas where the COVID-19, the virus official designation, has been confirmed. As of Wednesday, more than 44,600 people have been infected across China, the majority in and around Wuhan. Take a look. Now, most of the 1,113 who have died in China were in that region, but officials have confirmed multiple deaths elsewhere, including the capital, Beijing. The fatalities include a U.S. citizen believed to be the first confirmed death of a foreigner. In the Asia-Pacific, cruise ship Diamond Princess, quarantined off Japan, has 174. Hong Kong, 49, including 1 death. Singapore, 47. Thailand, 32. South Korea, 28. Japan, 28. Taiwan, 18. Malaysia has 18. Australia, 15. Vietnam, 14. Macau has 10. India, 3. Philippines, 3, including 1 death. Nepal, 1. Sri Lanka has 1. Cambodia also has 1. Going now to North America, United States has 13. Canada, 7. In Europe, Germany has 14. France, 11. Britain, 8. Italy, 3. Russia, 2. Spain, 2. Finland and Sweden, 1. Belgium as well, 1. And in the Middle East, United Arab Emirates has 8. The WHO has this advice for international traffic in relation to the outbreak of the novel coronavirus 2019 or the COVID-19 with Dr. Carmen Dolea, head of IHR Secretariat at the World Health Organization. So far, the main clinical signs and symptoms reported in this outbreak include fever, difficulty in breathing, and chest radiographs showing bilateral lung infiltrates, according to the WHO. Let's take a look.
And let's start with a really most basic question people may have asking themselves. Should I cancel my travel?
No, no. So during this coronavirus outbreak, WHO has specifically said that there shouldn't be any travel or trade restrictions. This includes most places in China. The risk of being infected is low in many countries. The epicenter is still, as we know, in the Hubei province in China. Some countries, we know that they have issued quarantining of people coming home. This is usually based on a risk assessment identified by individual countries. And travelers should not really cancel their plans, but they should take into account the various restrictions that airlines have put in place when planning for their next trips. Thank you, Terry.
Is cabin environment, plane cabin, dangerous in any way?
No, absolutely not. We know that the virus so far is transmitted via droplets or fomites, which means a close contact with people that are infected and that are shedding viruses. It is possible that the virus can live on surfaces as well, but for a short amount of time. The best thing to do in a cabin is to practice proper hand hygiene, to wash hands properly with soap and water, or to use alcohol-based rub, and to use coughing etiquette, and to really keep the distance from people that are coughing or having symptoms. The masks are very effective for protecting people that are sick from preventing them to shed the virus or to transmit the virus onward. For people that are not sick, masks are not very effective. It's also important to make sure you use the mask properly and to not touch the exterior of the mask, even if you are not sick. The masks are also important for people that are caring for sick passengers, which is sick travelers or sick people.
What precautions should be taken by airport workers?
Airport workers should practice the same hygiene protection measures as for any other workers. For the moment, we know that the virus can subsist for maybe half an hour on external surfaces, but this shouldn't. There's no evidence that the virus can be transmitted by just touching the luggage of other people.
What about hotel rooms? People who are traveling, what precautions they should take when being in a hotel rooms during the travels?
As a passenger, and if somebody in your plane has been suspected of having a coronavirus, the passenger crew knows the rules, the procedures, and they would ask all the passengers sitting 2 rows behind or 2 rows ahead of these suspect cases to fill in what they call a personal locator form, which is a form where you provide your contact details in case the authorities need to contact you. If you indeed need to be contacted as if the case turns out to be positive, you would then turn to be a contact of a case, and you would need then to take precautions yourself and monitor yourself for 14 days for symptoms like fever, coughing, shortness of breath, or general fatigue.
What are the risks to cabin crew in enclosed environments? So cleaning toilets, close contacts with the passengers?
Yeah, so cabin crew should protect themselves first. If they suspect that there are cases on board, they also have to have available the necessary equipment for self-protection and the necessary equipment for protecting additional passengers. And these come into the standard procedures of IATA. So before traveling, the cabin crew should make sure that they have protection for their own personnel, as well as additional protection for people that may become sick on board. So the key message is you should not change your travel plans if you had plans to travel during this time. You should be aware of what countries have put in place in terms of restrictions and plan your trips accordingly. And you should make sure that you practice the hygiene and the hand hygiene and the respiratory hygiene as advised by WHO and by your practitioners, to practice proper coughing etiquette, to wash your hands properly, and to really use the similar measures that you use for any type of respiratory disease like influenza, for example, or any other coronaviruses.
And the news continues here on Eagle News. We'll be right back.
visiting the Philippines, Manila or Quezon City is a popular destination. But oftentimes the hustle and bustle of the city can be more stressful on your vacation. So when you feel the need to reconnect to nature or relax again, there's a beautiful oasis just outside of the city called the Garden at Ciudad de Victoria. Some of the species that you can see here include hydrangea, snapdragon, and stargazers. They're truly beautiful. The gardens at Ciudad de Victoria are so peaceful, tranquil, and beautiful that it's become a haven for young couples and a very popular venue for engagement photos. The next time you want an escape from the big city, the garden at Ciudad de Victoria is a wonderful place to visit.
Welcome back. In the United States, Bernie Sanders won New Hampshire's high-stakes Democratic primary on Tuesday, according to U.S. network projections, leaving rivals, including party stalwart Joe Biden, in his wake as he staked his claim to challenge President Donald Trump in November. Senator Sanders, the flag bearer for the party's progressive wing, had 26% of votes, with most of the count complete in the northeastern state where he routed Hillary Clinton in 2016. Take a look.
And let me say tonight that this victory here is the beginning of the end for Donald Trump. With absolute certainty, and I know I speak for every one of the Democratic candidates, is that no matter who wins, and we certainly hope it's going to be us, we are going to unite together. We are going to unite together and defeat the most dangerous president in the modern history of this country.
Indiana ex-mayor Pete Buttigieg finished in second place at 24% as he readied for the more difficult battlegrounds ahead, while fellow Midwestern moderate Amy Klobuchar maintained a late surge to place third on about 20%. Meanwhile, liberal Elizabeth Warren finished in fourth place at about 9%. After months atop the pack, former Vice President Joe Biden had already conceded he expected to do badly in New Hampshire, as he did a week earlier in Iowa, and the former vice president's worst fears were beginning to materialize as he languished in fifth with just 8.4%. Take a look.
I admired Senator Sanders when I was a high school student. I respect him greatly to this day, and I congratulate him on his strong showing tonight.
Hello, America. I'm Amy Klobuchar, and I will beat Donald Trump. My heart is full tonight. My heart is full tonight. While there are still ballots left to count, we have beaten the odds every step of the way.
Hello, New Hampshire! So the results are still coming in from across the state, but right now it is clear that Senator Sanders and Mayor Buttigieg had strong nights. And I also want to congratulate my friend and colleague, Amy Klobuchar, for showing just how wrong the pundits can be when they count a woman out.
And so I'm going down to my supporters to get them moving down in South Carolina, do a little event tonight. I'm going to be talking to all the folks back here at the event electronically. We're going to fight to the end here until the polls close, and so we're then going to move on.
It is important that Iowa and Nevada have spoken, but look, we need to hear from Nevada and South Carolina and Super Tuesday states and beyond. And look, we're moving in an especially important phase, because up till now, we haven't heard from the most committed constituency of the Democratic Party, the African-American community. And the fastest growing segment of society, the Latino community.
Former Vice President Joe Biden has skidded from 26 to 17% support since the end of January. Significantly, the survey also showed billionaire Michael Bloomberg vaulting into third place on 15%, suggesting a possible upset when New York's former mayor, who is skipping the first 4 nominating contests, throws himself fully into the race. Competing for the support defecting from Biden, Bloomberg is focusing on Super Tuesday on March 3, when 14 states vote, spending a record $260 million of his personal fortune on his campaign. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's right-wing party has suffered a crushing defeat in an election for control of the capital, New Delhi, after a vitriolic campaign in which it concentrated on defending a controversial new nationality law. Take a look.
देश के लिए बहुत शुभ संदेश है और यही राजनीति हमारे देश को 21वीं सदी में ले जा सकती है। आप लोगों ने
I love Kejriwal. I think he's my man. He has his mind, in the right place as far as politics in the country is concerned. And I think the politics of the nation is now going to change because of him. And I think that's a new beginning for the Aam Aadmi Party as well as for other parties in the country.
मोदी ने जो स्लोगन चलाया यहाँ पे, जितने भी मंत्री आए बीजेपी से यहाँ पे प्रचार करने के लिए, वो हिंदू मुसलमान नहीं चल पाया, काम चला है और काम ही चलेगा।
A future without snow in Montclair in the Southern Alps, it's hard to imagine. But for the first time, climate change has forced the French village to heli lift snow up to the ski slopes. Take a look.
Les périodes de froid sont de plus en plus courtes et il ne faut pas les rater. Et c'est pour ça que la tendance est sur les investissements est à augmenter la capacité de production instantanée pour pouvoir enneiger la totalité du domaine le plus rapidement possible.
The predicament came as a shock for the small community that relies heavily on the snow for its survival, not just for this season, but as a portent of things to come as climate change wreaks havoc with temperatures. The Alps are particularly exposed to the ravaging effects of global warming. Now, according to the International Commission for the Protection of the Alps, or CIPRA, temperatures in the mountain range have risen by nearly 2 degrees Celsius in the past 120 years, almost double the global average, and will continue on the same upward trend. Now, scientists caution that artificial snowmaking is also not good for the environment, as it uses massive amounts of water and energy. Looking to a future, some are shifting to summer skiing, hiking, and cycling, which currently make up only a small part of the income of traditional winter sport resorts here. Now, every year, tens of thousands of tourists flock to a snow festival in the northern Japanese city of Sapporo, drawn by around 200 large and intricate ice sculptures. But this year, there's a problem: a lack of snow to make them with.
そうですね、例年にない雪不足がありましたので、今まで雪を運んだことのない遠方のところからニセコ地方を中心に雪を運び入れました。
はじめ準備段階といたしまして13人の人間をもって70日間準備を行いました。その後125名をもって30日間かけて雪像を作りました。
日本のこのね北国の毎年やってるもう70回からやってるんですよね。そういうイベントがねなくなってしまうの困りますよね。はい。
ありましたね。うちの周りでも雪がなくていつもと違うなって心配だったんですけど、開催できてよかったと思います。
Eagle News, we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Mula noon hanggang ngayon, gabay natin ang MTRCB ratings sa matalino at responsableng panonood. Sa tamang pagsunod sa MTRCB ratings, ginagawa nating
It's time to take one step further and face the impossible. Time to search the unknown and fight for the truth. Time to overcome boundaries and connect the world. It's time for DW News.
Welcome back. Japanese car giant Nissan filed a civil lawsuit to reclaim some 10 billion yen or 90 million US dollars from former chairman Carlos Ghosn for what it called years of his misconduct and fraudulent activity. Take a look. The 65-year-old faces multiple charges of financial misconduct in Japan, but fled to Lebanon before he could face trial. He denies any wrongdoing. Nissan said the damages had been calculated on the basis of the cost to the firm of Ghosn's corrupt practices. It accused Ghosn of, quote, the use of overseas residential property without paying rent, private use of corporate jets, payments to his sister, payments to his personal lawyer in Lebanon. It also said the amount was likely to rise and added that the company would also seek to sue Ghosn for groundless and defamatory remarks he made when he briefed the media in Lebanon. Ghosn spent more than 100 days in detention in Japan after his sudden November 2018 arrest, but launched an audacious escape plan while out on bail in Tokyo and managed to travel to Lebanon apparently undetected. He believes Nissan turned on him because executives there were concerned he was moving the firm closer to French partner Renault, part of a three-way alliance with Mitsubishi Motors.
I don't consider that now.
Boeing issued a stark warning Wednesday about the impact of the deadly coronavirus outbreak, saying there was no question it would hammer the aviation industry and the broader economy. Major airlines have halted flights in and out of China, where a lockdown has been imposed in the worst affected areas, while several countries have banned arrivals from China.
We have seen and will continue to see the virus have an impact on world GDP growth. It will and has had an impact on traffic, and we're going to see the bottom lines of our customers impacted. Now the question is how much? And we probably won't be able to answer that question until we really know the duration of this challenge and how long it's going to take for the virus to run its course. But without question, it will have and has had an impact in the marketplace, in the market in the future.
Now, he was speaking in Singapore to reporters at Asia's biggest air show, which has seen over 70 exhibitors withdraw and a fall in visitor numbers due to virus fears. Singapore has reported 47 cases of the virus so far and has raised its health alert level to the same as during the 2002 to 2003 severe acute respiratory syndrome outbreak. The vast exhibition center hosting the 4-day show has been unusually empty, pockmarked by empty booths of companies who have pulled out. Organizers have been using thermal scanners to check the temperature of those attending and have advised participants to avoid handshakes and instead greet one another by waving or bowing. An explosion at a U.S. oil refinery resulted in a huge fireball. Social media clip showed with plant owners ExxonMobil saying no one was hurt. Take a look. Flames could be seen shooting up from the Louisiana Chemical Center, according to Facebook videos posted by David Allen. Now, the fire at the Baton Rouge facility had been contained, and volunteer ExxonMobil fire team members were attending. The company posted on Twitter on Wednesday, "There are no injuries, with all personnel accounted for. The fire was contained to the area where it occurred," an Exxon spokesman later told AFP in a statement. The company's integrated facilities in the southern American state produce a range of oil-based products such as gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel, as well as everyday items like paint and plastic milk jugs. In other news, the Hutt City Mayor in New Zealand, Hutt City Mayor, the youngest mayor in its history, shares his vision for the city. Our ABC Bureau Chief in New Zealand, Greg Bessa, reports.
Lower Hutt, also known as Hutt City, is the 7th largest city in New Zealand and has a number of firsts in its history, one of which is when the people of the city elected in October last year the youngest mayor ever in the political history of this country. After serving 2 consecutive terms as a city councillor, Campbell Barry has become the 20th mayor of Lower Hutt at the age of 28 years old. In a rare and brief encounter with him, he has shared his vision for the city as he cited the importance of active and productive engagements by community groups of various cultural backgrounds, including the Filipino community.
First and foremost, Mayor Barry, I would like to extend my congratulations again to you for being elected as the 20th Mayor of Lower Hutt. It's a common knowledge already that at the age of 28 years old, you were and is still at present the youngest mayor ever elected in the political history of New Zealand. And more people, especially your constituents in the city, are expecting much from you. And they do believe that you have so much to offer for the city. Now, does this expectation add pressure on your part as you are fulfilling your duties and responsibilities as the mayor of the city?
Yeah, I think no matter the age of or your background, once you're in this seat, there is a lot of pressure on you. You've got a lot of responsibility and a lot of people to be working for in your city. So I think there probably is a bit of pressure there, but so there should be. I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into some of the big challenges we face around transportation, housing, climate change, also issues like 99 Pool. And I know that it's going to be important that I lead those issues, but also work alongside the entire council team, because we're only going to be able to do it if we're working together alongside our communities.
Okay. Now, Mayor, can you share again what is your vision for the city? And in relation to this, may I ask also, what are the things that you want to achieve or accomplish for the next 3 years, which is within your term as the mayor of Lower Hutt?
Yeah, so my vision for Lower Hutt is for it to be the best place in New Zealand to grow up, raise a family and thrive. And I don't have any kids yet, but I do plan to have a family with my wife Laura, and I really want them to inherit a city that they can be proud of, where we're tackling some of the big transportation issues that we face, where, you know, my friends, my generation have not just a dream, but a reality of being able to buy their own home. Also that we start getting stuck into some of these big issues around climate change. That's one, of course, we won't be able to tackle by ourselves, but we need to all be doing what we can as a community, as a city, country, and across the globe. Specifically, I really would like to make sure we get some, I will make sure we get some good progress on Nainai Pool. That won't be built overnight, but it's really important that we return those pool facilities to Nainai and really look at the town centre as a whole. So I think there's a really big opportunity there. On transport, I really am focused on making sure we have an integrated transport plan. So we start not just looking at roads or rail or active transport separately, we're looking at it together and how we can best get people to and from work, to school, and so forth. So those are some of the issues, but there's also a whole heap of others that I want to get cracking into as well.
Thank you, Mayor. Now, Lower Hutt is one of the most culturally diverse cities across New Zealand. And as you're very much aware of, there are so many cultural groups here that are actively participating in different programs and events in the city. Now, what can you say about the cultural diversity here in Lower Hutt? And in addition to that, do you think that you can tap or utilize the help of different ethnic groups for you to be able to achieve your vision for the city?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that one of the best things about Lower Hutt is our diversity that we have right across our communities, and I think that's a real treasure that we have. And what I would like to see is making sure that we as a council are reaching out and working with our diverse communities, not just in festivals or community events, but also in policy making, policy formation, and how we actually tackle some of these big challenges we face. So I'm really keen to focus on that and very keen to work with those who want to be part of those solutions on some of the big issues we face.
Among those different ethnic groups here in Lower Hutt, there's a strong presence of the Filipino community, wherein members of this community are very much active doing different projects just to promote cultural understanding and awareness about the Filipino culture. So do you have any message for the Filipinos living here in Lower Hutt?
Yeah, well, first off, I really want to acknowledge the incredible Filipino community that we have here in Lower Hutt. I think they are one of the most active communities right across our city. They're doing a number of good things. Yourself, as you know, with beach cleanups, with really getting actively involved. And I just really want to say a big thank you to the work that they already do, and I'm looking forward as Mayor to continue that strong partnership that's already there moving into the future.
So that's all, Mayor. I know you have a very busy schedule, and I would like to thank you for your time.
Kia ora. Thank you, Greg. Appreciate it.
As Mayor Kambambara is determined to realizing this vision for the city the next 3 years, Deputy Mayor Tui Lewis, the first Maori to be in such position in the city, is committed to working hand in hand with the young mayor and the rest of the city councillors in doing what is best for the people and city of Lower Hutt.
Hutt City Council, we've got a lot of things on the go. We have to get our transport right. We have issues there with getting our people around the city and into Wellington. Housing is another priority. So many people are needing homes, families and couples as well. Our city has so many nationalities here. It's a very multicultural city, and it makes the place so vibrant. And together, our city wants to be working with all the races we have here and integrating everybody so it's one happy family. And we have a really good multicultural group that are working strongly in supporting our mayor and our council. this term, we're going to be looking at transport, housing, and getting our key infrastructure, the core infrastructure, right for our city. And we've got a brand new council, 6 new people on, 6 women and 6 men, and 6 brand new people. So working together, it's going to be an exciting journey.
From Hutt City Council, Lower Hutt, New Zealand, I am Greg Bessa. I am and will always be one with 25.
Eagle News, we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
We are living during the most extraordinary time in human history.
All transport will go fully electric.
Es wird eine völlig neue Mobilität geben, meine Damen und Herren.
Rev, the new auto show on DW. Getting you into gear on cutting-edge developments.
Wasserstofferzeugung braucht Energie.
We focus on green technology.
Das Auto ist im Betrieb absolut emissionsfrei.
And also feature head-to-heads. And the latest launches.
Das Fahrgefühl war gut, er lässt sich sehr gut fahren, er liegt sehr gut auf der Straße.
And mobility stories from around the world.
Mercedes depuis 2005.
Earth, home to millions of species, a home worth saving. Global Ideas tells stories of creative people and innovative projects around the world. Ideas that protect the climate, boost green energy solutions, and reforestation. Using interactive content to inspire people to take action. Global Ideas, the environment series of Global 3000.
Samsung unveiled its second folding smartphone, a Z Flip handset with a lofty price tag aimed at trendsetters. The smartphone flips open like a case, opening into a 6.7-inch screen and fits in a pocket when folded. Take a look.
I think that definitely the Z Flip is a way to try and get foldables to a broader category, right? As I mentioned, the Fold was more about productivity, but not everybody wants to turn a phone into a tablet. I think that there are more people that maybe want to get to a smaller phone or something that fits in between a wearable and a phone and things. Of course, it feels at the moment as if it's more about vendors trying to reinvigorate their sales, but not consumers asking for foldables. Market where Samsung is clearly going to add value to their devices by partnering with players that people love and already use every day versus trying to build their own ecosystem, which I think is a smart move and one that will reap benefits for them.
Ultra-thin glass used for the screen can be folded and unfolded more than 200,000 times and resist scratches, according to Samsung. The Galaxy Z Flip will be available beginning Friday at a starting price of $1,380. Samsung also introduced a new Galaxy S20 Ultra flagship model for its lineup of smartphones synced to new 5G telecommunication networks. With schools in China and Hong Kong suspended until March in response to the coronavirus outbreak, students and teachers are heading online to continue with their lessons. Take a look.
I don't like about like
the screen because sometimes when I watch the screen too much, it hurts my eyes.
那这种焦虑感导致家长会给学生约更多的课。那么我们从后台里边看到的数据是，其实平台里边在上课的约课的量要比平时的时候增长大概达到200%左右这样。
Le matin, on se dit bon bah je vais rester à la limite en pyjama dans mon lit et travailler. Il y a moins cette motivation du soir, c'est de dire bon bah demain j'enchaîne, contrôle, cours, je me lève, je m'habille comme ça. Et on voit pas trop le temps passer et on a un petit monde qui passe au ralenti, il nous reste encore beaucoup de temps à passer.
Let's meet a London artist who turns chewing gums into works of art. For the past 15 years, this 57-year-old Ben Wilson has been going around the British capital, sculpting and repainting scraps of gum discarded by passers-by. Take a look.
I'm Ben Wilson. People call me the chewing gum man. And for the last 15 years, I've been transforming discarded chewing gum, which is on the streets of London and beyond, into artwork. So it's taking thoughtless action, trying to transform it, hopefully into something positive. I'm not actually working on the metal tread. I'm very careful that the actual picture happens. So it's not actually on the Millennium Bridge, it's on the chewing gum on the bridge, which is also very important with the local authorities, because then technically they can't arrest you on a criminal damage charge. It's a technicality because the person who spat out the gum is the person that created the criminal damage, and I'm transforming the rubbish and making it into a form of art, so it's a form of recycling. The gum has melted within the metal tread, so I use acrylic enamel paints, and then I use a burner, and then I dry the paint off as I go along, and then I put a lacquer over the top of the gum. I started doing chewing gum art in 2004, and I started in Barnet in North London, and then I've worked in Portugal. I've worked in Central Europe, in Brussels, Paris, Berlin. So there's hidden art kind of around Europe. People naturally are inquisitive, so they come to me and they have to try and negotiate what's actually happening. Often they recognise me from different areas that I've worked in, so there's a sense of connectivity. It's sad really the impact that humans have on their environment, the amount of rubbish that we create. So it's nice to actually create something which evolves out of the environment rather than being imposed on the environment.
And that's the news for tonight. Join us online and here again tomorrow evening. From all of us here at Eagle News, thank you. And we'll see you soon. I'm Alma Angeles, always one with 25. Good night.